I marked you, he rasped, his voice a low growl against my skin. His lips found the sensitive curve where my neck met my shoulder, a sharp, possessive bite. I gasped, a tremor running through me, part pain, part something else entirely, something dark and thrilling. He lifted his head, his eyes burning with a feverish intensity that mirrored the storm inside me. You can never escape me again, Rosalind. I am the housekeeper's daughter. From the moment I could understand words, my mother taught me one gospel: a man is a ladder. I took that gospel to heart. So, from the age of 7, I began scouting for my patron. At 18, I arrived at the home of my 8th employer. The moment I saw Preston Lancaster, I knew my ladder had appeared. I was the product of my mother's unwed, youthful mistake. She was a community college graduate, pregnant and abandoned by my biological father. She became the shame of her family. At the height of the fury, my grandmother threw her out, with no other choice, her pregnancy too far along to terminate. She gave birth to me, left me in her backwater hometown, and sought her fortune. And so, I inherited her place, becoming the vessel for all my grandmother's bitterness. I grew up in a storm of whispered insults. Until I was 7, I never owned a decent piece of clothing, never wore a proper dress. I never even had a truly satisfying, full meal. I hated my mother more than the village elders who called me a bastard. I hated her. Then, when I was 7, she appeared at the edge of the village, saying she was here to take me away. Later, I learned she hadn't abandoned me. She simply couldn't afford me. In the city, she had forged her own success story. She taught herself French, studied nutrition and child development. Through sheer force of will, she became a top-tier housekeeper, commanding a 6-figure salary. I thought she wanted to provide a better life for me through her own hard work, until she told me the truth. Rosie, everything I've done, it's all to get you into their world, to make you one of them. Rosie, you just have to seize your chance, and the sparrow becomes a phoenix. Rosie, only by marrying up can you truly be someone. I believed her completely. So, from 7 to 18, my mother and I moved through 7 different households of the ultra-wealthy. Each was a dynasty of old money and influence, but they were all flawed. Either the sons were morally bankrupt, or the family fortunes were unstable, until the Lancasters' estate manager came calling. My mother was a legend in the world of domestic management, fluent in French, qualified to be a private tutor, a certified nutritionist, ensuring the family's health and wellness. Her resume, filled with references from the nation's most powerful families, made her a hot commodity the moment she was available. The Lancasters' status in the elite world was equivalent to my mother's in her profession, so when their manager contacted her, she accepted without hesitation, not for the salary, but for one reason: the Lancasters had one, and only one, son. More importantly, he was my age. Most employers, besides valuing my mother's unparalleled skills, were also charmed by me, her living trophy. I was smart. My mother had told me from a young age, only by studying hard, by getting perfect grades, would I earn the affection of our employers. Only if they liked me would they allow me to live with my mother in their grand houses. I never wanted to go back to that crumbling row house in our hometown, where the wind carried the stench of the abandoned slaughterhouse through the broken window panes. So I studied like my life depended on it, molding myself into someone effortlessly likable, and with that, I hitched a ride on the elite educational superhighway. I became the anomaly at the prestigious Blackwood University, but I was always at the top of my class, from every exam to the SATs and my university entrance scores. I met Preston Lancaster 3 months after moving into the estate. He returned from a summer backpacking through Europe the day before the university semester began. In those 3 months, I had rehearsed our first meeting in my mind 1,000 times, just as I had in all the other houses before. Preston's flight landed at 11 at night. I didn't have a habit of staying up late, but that night, I waited until 1 in the morning. When the front door finally opened, I slipped on a silk robe that left a scandalous amount of leg exposed and pretended to go downstairs for a glass of water. Our eyes met. We both froze, caught in an awkward tableau. Except his surprise was real, mine was a performance. His gaze dropped, lingering on my legs, while I feigned astonishment, my eyes raking over him. Of all the heirs I'd encountered, Preston Lancaster was by far the most handsome. Sharp, aristocratic features, a jawline that could cut glass. His physique and face were a perfect 10. More importantly, there was no predatory greed in his eyes as he looked at me. You're Preston. I broke the silence. A smirk played on his lips, laced with disdain. And you must be the housekeeper's daughter. What was your name again? Rosalind Clark. I pitched my voice to sound soft, almost fragile. He hesitated for a moment, then the sound of his luggage wheels echoed in the cavernous foyer. A slow, deliberate advance, step by step. He closed the distance. He showed no sign of stopping, and I was forced backward, step by step, until my back hit the cold marble of the wall. What are you doing? Preston leaned in, his head close to my ear, his warm breath a ghost against my skin. A low, mesmerizing frequency rumbled in his throat, like a siren's call. What's this? Trying to seduce me? He raised a hand, his fingertips lightly tracing the skin of my thigh. The unexpected touch sent a jolt, a shiver, through my entire body. This seemed to give him a strange sort of satisfaction. He chuckled softly, then flicked his hand away as if he'd touched something unclean. I've seen your type a million times. Stay away from me in the future. You disgust me. I couldn't argue with him. My first meeting with Preston Lancaster ended with him branding me a gold digger. For me, this was a perfect start. The next day, for the first time in months, the entire Lancaster family was gathered at the breakfast table. Mrs. Lancaster, you should try this. The Lancasters adored me. In their eyes, I was poised, graceful, and intelligent. Therefore, I was granted a seat at their table. My mother was not, even though they always extended a polite invitation. Both she and I knew our places. My presence was a gift of their generosity. My mother's would have been an overstep. Rosalind, dear, you must eat more. Look how thin you are. Mrs. Lancaster was kind to me, treating me like a surrogate daughter. Mr. Lancaster's affection was perhaps more pragmatic. A girl like me could never be a Lancaster daughter-in-law, but I was perfectly suited to be a loyal, brilliant right hand when Preston eventually took over the family empire. After breakfast, I'll have the driver take you both to campus. I offered a polite thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Lancaster, but in Preston Preston's world, my presence had a much simpler explanation. I was here to seduce him, therefore, every good quality I possessed was, in his eyes, just another tool in my manipulative arsenal. After the meal, Preston cornered me against the powder room door, his tall frame looming over me as he watched my feigned outrage and helpless struggling. Rosalind, don't you get tired of this act, sucking up to my parents so they'll what? Marry you off to me. Give me a break. My marriage will be to someone of my own class. You're just the housekeeper's daughter. Stop dreaming. Preston, your parents are right outside. Aren't you afraid they'll misunderstand? He leaned closer, his voice a taunting whisper in my ear. Isn't that exactly what you want, Mrs. Lancaster's voice drifted from the hallway. Rosalind, the driver is waiting. You and Preston can go to campus together. Strange, where did that boy run off to? As her footsteps faded, Preston released me. The breath I'd been holding escaped in a rush, and I sagged against the door, gasping. Little rabbit. Preston scoffed, pushed the door open, and left. I smoothed my dress and followed obediently. Outside, the Lancasters' driver was already waiting. With the SUV, seeing Preston get in through the right side passenger door, I sensibly walked towards the left. I pulled the handle, but it wouldn't budge. The door was locked. The window slid down, revealing a bright, sunny face. Preston's childhood friend, Tessa Harrington. Compared to my more sultry looks, Tessa was the picture of innocent, preppy perfection. Preston, darling, is this the housekeeper's daughter you were talking about? Is she the one who wanders around in a practically see-through robe in the middle of the night, trying to get your attention? She's pretty, I'll give her that, but she just reeks of desperation. No wonder she's trying to climb into your bed. I had imagined Preston might tell his friends about that night as a funny story. I never thought he would tell another girl, his childhood sweetheart. The sting of malice from another woman was 100 times more painful than from a man. I tried to ignore Tessa's barbed words, but I couldn't stop my eyes from welling up, my nails digging into my palms. In the car, Preston saw my teary, pitiful expression and lost his patience. Are you getting in or not? I composed myself and walked around to the front passenger seat. Throughout the drive, the two in the back flirted and laughed. I could occasionally catch Tessa's eye in the rearview mirror. I saw her deliberately loop her arm through Preston's, resting her head on his shoulder. I saw her provocatively smooth the stray hairs on his forehead, and Preston allowed all of it. Their easy intimacy painting the picture.